Hey everyone, Dark Magician of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to What If Wednesday, and it's yet another Robot Wars What If. And this one is about something that happens regarding Series 10. Yes, we're going into the latest series. And this one's about Behemoth. Basically my personal favourite from the rebooted series, because it's the oldest robot and one of the few that took part in this new age. And this goes back to the grand final of Series 10, when it fought against both Carbide and Nuts 2. Now, as we saw, one of the mini bots pushed the pit and Behemoth accidentally got caught and went down. But what if that didn't happen? What if Behemoth was able to avoid the pit and keep fighting? Well, I guess Nuts 2 would have still knocked the chain off Carbide's spinning weapon and immobilised the weapon, leaving it defenceless. So basically Carbide can't do anything. Unfortunately, Nuts still has Behemoth to deal with, and it gets flipped all over the place. Behemoth is just on a rampage here, flipping anything and anyone in its path. Maybe not so much the house robots, but still. And this would lead to Behemoth's victory, and Behemoth would go through to round 2, and Nuts would go into the redemption round instead, and would then go up against Magnetar. So yeah, and sadly Magnetar might be too much for Nuts. I mean, the chain flail just can't get to it. Magnetar's just too low. And while it would be a struggle for Magnetar, it would still be able to be more controlled and aggressive. Any of the mini-bots would get damaged really easily by the spinning drum. And Magnetar would just keep attacking the wheels, like, over and over again. And yeah, it would basically go the same way as the Series 8 fight with Gabriel. But even if Nuts survives, Magnetar would go through on a judge's decision. So now for the next bouts. I don't think Behemoth and Eruption would get pitted against each other, because what they tended to do, like in Series 10, is keep the Battle Royal winners separate from each other. Unless, of course, they both reach the heat final, or in this case, the grand final. So who would face whom instead? That's a tough one. I suppose the easiest thing to say would be there'd be rematches involved. Or maybe not. Again, it could go two ways. Either Magnetar would have to fight Eruption again, and Carbide would have to face Behemoth again, or Carbide would face Eruption, and Magnetar would face Behemoth. So let's see what happens. If Carbide and Behemoth face off, then, well, naturally Behemoth would use the big thicker shovel, and I reckon they could actually beat Carbide. I mean, it could pretty much go the same way as the actual grand final fight in this series between Eruption and Carbide. I mean, maybe the sides of Behemoth still would get hit, but Behemoth would be able to withstand Carbide's blade this time, and it would stop working, and I think Behemoth would beat Carbide on a judge's decision and dethrone it, and finally be one fight away from finally being the Robot Wars Grand Champion. Meanwhile, with Eruption and Magnetar, this is a tough one to call. Because Magnetar was able to damage Carbide a bit in the Battle Royale. The flipper just didn't seem very powerful and effective. At least I'm pretty sure it was Magnetar that did that. Chances are it could go the same way, although Eruption might be a bit more wary and would be doing everything in its power to try and flip Magnetar out the arena. Of course, there is a chance that the Shri mech would stop working, like it did in the other fights. But then again, even if it does get to that stage where the flipper becomes less effective, I think Eruption would still be able to beat Magnetar eventually. I mean, maybe try flips at different angles, and eventually get it up and over. And then even get it into a corner, and depending on which house robots are there, I mean, if it's Shunt or Matilda, for instance, they could probably get a hit in on Magnetar and just leave it upside down. But I feel like Magnetar would try and avoid the CPZs. But yeah, either way, I feel like Eruption is more likely going to win this one. And so it's a showdown of flippers, Eruption against Behemoth, and yeah, this basically plays out the exact same way as their actual fight in the actual timeline, with Behemoth being flipped all over the place, just not really getting a chance to do anything, and Eruption still wins Series 10, which for me would have been a shame, because I really wanted Behemoth to win. Man, those boys just can't catch a break. But maybe they would have had a better chance if someone else got through the 10 robot rumble. I was going to do a separate what if video for this, but honestly I feel like the result would be the same if literally anyone else went through. I mean, the other ones being, who was there? Expulsion, Traction, Apollo, Sabertooth, Big Nipper, Terahertz, Concussion, iron ore 6 and 4. I mean, I imagine if any of them went through, Behemoth wouldn't have any trouble with them. It beat Terahertz and Apollo before, both robots being big names, so honestly, like, depending on who faces who in the battle royales a bit later on, but more specifically, whoever gets pitted against Rapid and Magnetar, I feel like Behemoth would be able to come out on top every single time. I mean, I don't think Expulsion would have got very far. Same with Traction. I mean, they would have lost against Magnetar or Rapid quite easily, and Behemoth, and Carbide. The others would have had a stronger chance though, but yeah, I don't really see any of them beating either Carbide or Behemoth, so had anyone else gone through, other than Eruption, Behemoth could have won Series 10. I'm surprised actually that Behemoth never took part in that, in any of the World Series episodes. The one where there were 2 tag team duels followed by 4 1v1 battles. I mean, Behemoth would definitely have been on a winning team and just beaten anyone from other countries and finally won something. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, had Behemoth not accidentally gone down the pit, or well, not accidentally, but got caught off guard, nothing would have changed, and Eruption still would have beaten Carbide and Behemoth to win the title, but in a different order. Although, had literally anyone other than Eruption got through the 10 robot rumble, Behemoth could have won quite easily. Of course, Apollo still would have been a big challenge for Behemoth, but I feel like Behemoth would have been fine. I mean, it beat Apollo before, and it could do it again. Anyway, but what do you guys think? Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you guys later.